Do you feel like your company is lagging behind the AI revolution? Are you not quite sure how to drag your team forward, kicking and screaming into the next industrial revolution? Well, this is a video for you. Hello, everyone. My name is Garik Tate, and I have over a decade of experience in building businesses and working with AI to do it. I founded companies from publishing to outsourcing to software development. And in all of my companies, we use AI in different ways and methodologies. And that's what I want to be talking with you about today. Here's just some of the things that I've done, letting grown companies, some of the partners we've worked with, and some of the areas where we've added AI. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the nature of the problem. And to understand the nature of the problem, it first depends who you are. So just to clarify, this is a presentation that's primarily made for business owners that are running teams of between 10 to 30 employees, preferably in companies that are remote-based or white-collar in some capacity. So like I alluded to earlier, most companies right now are really operating from a position of FOMO when it comes to AI. They're not really asking themselves what is the best way that they can add AI in their business from a practical or a problem-solving point of view. And ultimately, this is not the most productive position to be playing from if you're asking yourself creative problems. And ultimately, this isn't the most productive way to be thinking about it if you're wanting to productively move your business forward. So let's talk about the right way to be thinking about this, and let's talk about how you practically can actually be adding in AI into your business effectively. Because there is actually a massive disruption going on. There is tremendous opportunity if you can add AI the right way into your business. There are two approaches that you can take when looking at your business and asking yourself, how can I add AI into this business? The first way is a bottom-up way, which is basically you're asking, how can I make sure that my team is using AI as well as they possibly can? How can I make sure my team is augmented and they have the right tools for the job in order to be doing their work at maximum productivity with AI? The other way is a little more top-down. And I don't mean top down as in directing people to be, doing things the way you want them to be doing. Instead, when I say top down, it's more about thinking about your business from the top down, like a bird's eye view, and finding specific systems that can be automated or improved with AI. So let's talk about these one at a time. Let's talk about the more organic way of doing this first. And before we talk about that, I just want to be sharing with you guys an important note that we've been here before. A lot of people right now are thinking that we're going through the first major technological innovation. And for a lot of people, experientially, this is the first major technological innovation that they've really lived through. But we've been here before, not just way back when in the Industrial Revolution, but in the 1970s and 80s, when computers were first being rolled out, when Microsoft Office and spreadsheets and Word documents started becoming must-haves for office work. It was a big transformation. And realizing that we've been here before and asking yourself, if I was a manager in an office sort of situation before and we had to roll out computers for the very first time, how would I train my team in doing it? How would I arm my team to be using these tools effectively? That sort of mindset for me has been very helpful when thinking about what are the best ways I can arm my team to be using AI. So first of all, bottom-up approach, it starts with leading by example. So how do you actually lead by example? You need to master the tools yourself first. And you need to master more than just ChatGPT in order to do this. And no, I'm not talking about mastering Google Gemini or Anthropic's Claude or Llama 3. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about really finding and mastering new tools that let you do new things with AI. In the raw text space, I'm talking about tools like OpenAI's Playground or various Chrome extensions. Actually, the one I would recommend is Harpa because it has very good privacy protections and can give you a lot of help from going from website to website, to using tools like Jasper or its competitors like Write, which let you have more than just a chat companion, actually give you a writing companion that allows you to write documents more effectively, to finding some tools like Zapier or Make.com that allow you to automate certain steps of your business's processes. You want to be finding text-based generative AI tools beyond just ChatGPT. If you're curious which ones I would recommend, I actually recommend generally in this order if you don't know where to get started. We actually have a video, we'll put it in the link in the description below, on OpenAI's Playground, and we're probably going to be making some more videos on other tools. If you're interested, comment down below on what kinds of tools you would like us to be covering. But these are generally the types of tools and tools that we recommend to our clients to be diving into. Depending on your business's operations, you might also need image-based tools such as Midjourney or Firefly, or video editing tools like Runway or Descript, or when they come out with it, OpenAI's Sora. We'll include a link to a video that we also did for Cultivate Advisors, where we walked through various tools and the ones that we recommend people to be checking out. But the point here is not which tools we check out. The point here is to be expanding your comfort levels with AI tools beyond just ChatGPT. A quick note on the best way to study these tools is some people recommend to be really diving in and learning the tools yourselves and getting your hands in the pie. And I agree with that and I embrace that. But I do want to say that the fastest way for you to be learning these tools is to be watching how other people use them, diving in yourself, seeing how you can replicate the same results, then watching other people using them in new, interesting ways, diving in, doing it yourself, and doing it in that sort of cyclical pattern of watching other people's results with these tools and then trying to replicate them and use them yourselves. That's really where you're going to get the fastest learning. As you understand these tools, start challenging yourself to do more and more tasks with them, and also challenge your team to be doing the same. Once again, this is about leading by example and showing your team that you're using it and challenging them to follow suit. If you don't know where to get started, start by giving a task to an employee to just spend 2 hours playing around with some of the tools that you're also playing with. And for one bonus idea, something that we did inside of our company is we actually created a database of every potential task that could be improved by using AI. And we kept that as a centralized database that everyone in the company could contribute to. And then we actually gave a reward out to the person that had the best idea that was actually ranked and voted by other members of the company. We did this inside of our VA company, and it had a huge impact on everyone's embracing of AI and trying it out. So think outside the box. How can you make this a fun, interactive sort of a situation? Let's talk about the human element. A lot of people, and I think this is already getting better and better as people are becoming more and more comfortable with AI, but ultimately there even now are a lot of people that are resistant to using AI in their day-to-day tasks. And the resistance really comes down to two different factors. One is their friction to using these tools, like how hard are these tools to use? And the other is fear. Fear for potentially future employment, to fear of change. And it's important that you're able to walk your team through that friction and through that fear. So how do you do that? Well, ultimately, it boils down to the similar sort of things you would be doing for any sort of digital transformation. It's going to boil down to you creating a compelling vision that can answer the question in your team members' minds, what's in it for me? How will this make my life better? How will this make my life easier? What's a compelling vision that has something in it for them? How is the AI going to make their jobs easier? How is AI going to make them more productive? How is AI going to make them more competitive in the workspace? Because one thing I can guarantee you is you're not going to be replaced by AI, but you might be replaced by someone who is using AI better than you. And so really the jobs are not going away. We can make a video on this subject. In fact, we've made a few shorts on this before, but jobs are not being replaced by AI, but tasks are. And so the jobs are going to be continuously evolving and changing based on what are the tasks that we're going to be giving to AI so we can be doing our best work in other areas. And for evidence of that, I recommend you check out the study down below that shows that many Fortune 500 companies have reported adding in new jobs, not taking them away based on the usage of AI. Beyond creating a compelling vision, it's also about communicating effectively with your team members, listening to them, understanding where they're coming from, understanding most especially their points of friction, because they might be having points of friction that you never even realized, and helping walk them through that. It's about recognizing and rewarding progress. And of course, it's about leading by example. Let's say you've done that. Let's say that your team is now using AI individually based on their tasks and operations, and they're loving the tools that they're using. Can you take this a step further? Yes, you can. There's another way of thinking about it for adding AI into your business, and that is a top-down way. The easiest way to break this down is into 7 steps. Let's take these one at a time. First step is identifying the right area where you can add AI into your business. And when I say add AI, I mean actually adding in AI so that it automates a certain task, or that can be plugged in directly into your business And what I mean when I say top down is I mean adding in AI directly in your business to automate some sort of task or take over some sort of operation. The very first thing you need to do is you need to make sure you're really clear about what AI is good for and what it's not good for. AI is the right tool for the job when the inputs and outputs are both very, very clear, where they are digitally accessible, and where there are also plentiful examples. So what I mean by clear is that the inputs and outputs, you can boil them down to a set number. The example of this is that, let's say you're an accountant and you're giving an assessment on a profit and loss statement. When you're giving that assessment, are you only looking at what's on that profit and loss statement, or are you also taking into account all of the previous conversations you've had with the client? Are you taking into account their goals and their worries? Are you taking into account their future plans? Are you taking all that into account when you're giving your analysis? Very often, it's taking into account that broader context as the difference between a very good report and a not so good report. And so if you're wanting AI to take over that kind of work, you have to make sure the inputs are very clear. And you have to make sure those inputs are something the AI actually has access to. Maybe the AI can't properly contextualize or have access to that lunch conversation you had with your client. But if your meeting was recorded on a tool like Fathom or Read.ai, well, that's going to be very different. Then the AI can have access to that kind of information. The last criteria is that input or output has to be something that you have plentiful examples of. Really, I would say that at this point, AI has been proven that it can do almost any task very effectively if it has enough data, if there are enough examples of it. And this is really the promise of AI from the very beginning, is that it can be a black box that can solve just about any complex problem so long as the inputs and outputs are clear, and also so long as the inputs and outputs are very plentiful. So some important questions to ask yourself here are, where can AI get the full context in order to do what I want it to do? And where do I have that data in an easy to read format that AI can actually consume? Once you've taken that into account, it's time to break down your business into its component pieces. Think about, how does your business interact with the customer throughout the user journey? And how do your business's operations interlink with each other? So from marketing to booking the first conversation with a client, to closing that client, to handing them over to fulfillment, to completing fulfillment, to invoicing, all the steps the customer does inside of your business, all the steps that your business does in order to fulfill and then ultimately run, and especially those steps and the handoffs in between those steps, the handoffs in between the departments of your company. Are any of these component pieces something that can be augmented with AI based on where we know that AI has a lot of power? Now, theoretically, you can add AI into almost any area of your business, but if you're really not driven by FOMO, which you shouldn't be, if you're operating from a position of where do I get the most bang for my buck, you want to be asking yourself, what areas of your business are having the most amount of pain that you can solve with AI? I categorize the pain in one of 4 different categories. The first is bottlenecks. Where are there bottlenecks in my business? If I could remove that bottleneck, growth would happen naturally. There's a fantastic book by Eli Goldratt called The Goal that talks about this in the world of manufacturing. But really, it applies far beyond manufacturing. I would highly recommend that book for anyone who's interested in this idea. What Eli Goldratt says in his book is that the system is, and any system, is always constrained based on its weakest link. Think of it like a chain. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And so therefore, the system has to optimize for that weakest link. If you can improve that weakest link, then the whole system becomes healthier until another part of the chain becomes a new weakest link. And then that becomes the thing you should focus on. If you are improving the wrong area of your business, if you are building on top of a strength, let's say that your marketing and sales is fantastic and you add AI to make it even more fantastic, but your fulfillment is way overscheduled and is frazzled and things are breaking down, you've actually made your business probably worse, not better, because fulfillment, that problem you had there, is just getting worse, not better. So you want to be finding the right bottleneck that you can be adding AI into that will actually improve your bottom line profit, not just the performance of one particular department. The other factor to consider is this work just dehumanizing work? Is it just crappy work that we don't want humans to be doing? I mean, it's the 21st century, for Christ's sake. We've solved a lot of problems. Let's make people's lives better. The third is this work expensive? Is it work that is consuming a lot of valuable resources? So the example that I think about here is this augmenting your top performers so that they can do more of their best work? So for instance, if you could automate the jotting down of takeaways and adding those takeaways into your CRM for your top performers, all of a sudden your top performers' time can be spent better on doing more calls with clients and frees up their most expensive hours so they can be spent doing more high leverage activity. And lastly, the fourth type of pain is this an area in your business that has really bad QA? Is it an area in your business where a lot of errors are popping up and quality assurance is failing? If one of these 4 pain points is true, this is an area that you want to consider. How can we add AI in order to improve? So now you've identified the right area of your business that both is a pain point and also is an area where data is clear, concise, easily understandable, easily reachable, accessible by digital means, and also you have lots of examples of. This is an area where you can add AI in and really supercharge your business. But how do you actually do that? I would recommend that you check out a tool such as Zapier or Make.com and see how that tool can integrate with your systems and processes in order to augment it. I actually have made another video, you can click on the links down below, that walks through the engineering mindset, where I give some examples of actually using Make.com to automate certain business processes. So you can check out that video for a little more of an in-depth example. There's also another video below where I walked through using ChatGPT Playground and Make.com in order to automate a part of your business using AI. And so really understanding these automation integration tools is very powerful for transforming a part of your business's operations. If you do not have time to be the one who's personally responsible for automating and augmenting that part of your business, though, it's time for you to find a champion. Find a champion in your business that can be the one that can drive this initiative forward. You want to make sure that they have very clear success criteria. Success criteria just means what are the criteria that success will be judged off of. And you want to make sure those are written down and is agreed on by both parties. You want to make sure there's really clear expectations with that champion on how they're going to be judged and what are the expectations as far as deadlines and timelines that they should be aiming for, or at the very least reporting to you updates on. And you want to make sure that the entire team is very clear on who that champion is and on what support they're going to be needing. And after that, it's time to get your team on board and excited for the new changes. The way you do that is exactly what we were talking about before, about leading by example, rewarding them as they're using the new tools and processes, communicating things clearly, and importantly, also setting a very clear vision that's exciting for them that they want to be working towards. And once everyone's bought in, it's just time to implement your plan. You took your time to slowly plan the right approach to make sure that you were attacking the right problem with AI. And once you've gotten the whole team onboarded, now's the time to go as fast as you can and really try to blitzkrieg it. Because the faster that you're able to roll out some sort of a automated improvement, the faster you can evaluate it and the faster you can iterate. Like I said, step 7 is to evaluate whether or not you succeeded based on your success criteria, and then iterate quickly. And those are the 7 steps to adding AI on a sort of top-down methodology. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and I'll make sure that we answer your questions either in a future video or in a direct response. If you would like a copy of these slides, you can scan the QR link here to get direct access to the newest version of the slides that we used here for this presentation. Until next time, be seeing you.
Hey, you made it to the video. I knew we were friends. I knew I could trust you. If you really liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, we're not friends anymore. Make sure to leave your comments down below.